time for Trending Tuesday on Franklin County's favorite morning show. The starting lineup, fueled by Loco Coffee. And now for your hosts, Joe Abraham and Chewy.
And good morning, and welcome into the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester. I am Joe Abraham. We are fueled by Loco Coffee. Sitting across from me this morning, the Wookiee one, the board lord, Chewy. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe Abraham.
How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. Brett Crabtree's already in here, and he says, "Hey, you guys."
Hey, Brett. Yes, we are here, which sometimes surprises me. Every day I got to be concerned that they're going to let Chewy out on his work release program. But surprisingly, just about every day they do. And that's cool because he helps me get through it all. And today is a Trending Tuesday. We got a lot to get through.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things trending on the internet right now that won't cause any controversy.
No, not at all.
Better head on over to Twitter.
The greatest thing about it, too, is that we've got this tremendous platform that has been built up called the internet, which allows us to have really, calm, cool, collected, straightforward community-building conversations that are full of tremendous insight and respect for one another as human beings and individuals. And I love that the most about the internet.
Yeah.
Specifically social media.
Basically, you would say that social media is humanity's opus.
I would say it's a representation of the best of us. That's what I would say.
So Miss Stacy jumped in this morning saying, "Good morning, guys."
Good morning, Miss Stacy.
She says, "Hope you have a great day." We hope you have a great day, Miss Stacy. And then Brett Crabtree jumped back in and said, "Yes, Chewy said it exactly how I typed it." That's how, I was hoping that y'all'd pick up on that, and I did. That was a good reference.
Yes.
That's about same amount of brain cells that I have too. So as soon as he had that, I was like, "Oh, look, he's recognizing me." You know what I mean?
Question for folks that have kids: what age is the age that you're you start pulling out those movies,
like the classics?
Yeah. And for me, like how many times have you shown your kids The Goonies? Because that's one that I started showing it to them. I don't know, how old are they? 13. It's probably been 5 years since I showed it to them the first time. Mm-hmm. Now I will say this. What's shocking about a lot of those movies that we grew up on, the language in a lot of them, I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah, you forgot, yeah.
Or when I saw it, it was on, cable.
Right.
And
so it probably had some edits or changes.
Yeah. It's different than I remember.
Timothy Baldwin saying, "Hey, guys, I haven't been on in a while." It has been a little while, hasn't it, Timothy? Glad to see you, though, this morning.
Timmy B.
How are you this morning? Doing well?
So, Chewy, a few things came down yesterday, locally trending things that we can talk about this morning.
Okay.
On this Trending Tuesday. First and foremost, in the afternoon show, for folks who were not listening, they may not know this. We haven't made a big deal about it yet. But unfortunately for us, we are going to be losing a member of the team. No,
to a degree.
No, yeah, to a degree. No, I haven't fired myself yet. No, Katie has not been fired. No, Chewy has not relieved himself of his duties.
I mean, we do that every day, but that specific duty, no.
Specifically, Johnny Hand and the afternoon handoff. Johnny is leaving for a different career. It's a personal decision from his end, financial decision from his end. Got a better offer. He entered the transfer portal. No, we're sad about it because we love Johnny.
And there's no bad blood. We're not mad at each other.
Johnny loves us.
Just the way the cards are dealt.
3/4 of us. Johnny, or I guess he would be one of the fourth. So Johnny loves 2 out of the 3 of us.
Okay.
I guess you could add Daniel into that group, though. So, yeah 3/4 of us. Johnny has no problem with us. We have no problem with Johnny. So I don't want anybody to think that it's a that thing. It's a money thing. You know how it is. And so, unfortunately, we're going to be losing him on the afternoons. But we do have a solution for the afternoons. In fact, I'm very excited about it. And we will be telling you more about what the afternoon show is going to look like. The time slot's going to stay the same. It's going to still be 2 to 4. But we will get into more about that later as the week goes on. We will release what that looks like. And our goal is to have Johnny maybe do a weekly show. Still haven't figured out the details on that. Could be maybe a Saturday show. Could be a coach's show. Could be I don't know. There's a lot of different options that we're discussing with him. We'll see if we can get that worked out. We desperately want to keep him involved in the station.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a sad day for us.
Yes.
From that regard. But we are very excited about what's going to come behind him. Another thing, Chewy, that is kind of locally interesting is yesterday it was kind of more publicly released that quietly but publicly released. I haven't seen it really out there anywhere. But the co-athletic director, one of the co-athletic directors of the high school, Miss Kelly Kennedy, is resigning at the end of the year. So for people who know Miss Kennedy and who are close to her in the situation, they know it's not particularly a surprise. But that's something I think that is, again, it's sad to lose her because while there have been some growing pains along the way, I think that she has been a tremendous asset to the Franklin County athletics program, pushing them in a positive direction. Although at some times I know that there are people within our community who may not recognize it or may not see what she's had to battle through, but she has been banging the drum and is a large reason why the athletic programs have gotten to where they have gotten to over the past few years and specifically here in more recent months. A lot of the work that she's put in along the way has driven us, has led us to where we are. You say, well, where are we, Joe? Yesterday... Oh, don't look up.
Are you kidding me? Another one?
Yesterday, they're got to be getting in from somewhere.
Yeah. Where's my? Let me go get my wallet.
Yeah.
My thing.
Chewy's got to save us. There's a wasp flying above his head. Anyway, yesterday we had Coach Reed in studio. He brought along and introduced David Norris, his new defensive coordinator for the football team. I'm watching this wasp, keeping my eyes on it. It just disappeared. Now I don't know where it went. But aside from the fact that if you put, there he is. Aside from the fact that if you put David, get him, Chewy, get him. Did you get him?
Yep, got him.
No, oh, he's smoking. Get him again.
Got it.
Okay. So good job by Chewy. He's already eliminated one wasp this morning. But here's the funny thing. If you put Coach Chuck Reed's first name together with Coach David Norris, like, you know how they do that with movie stars and stuff who are dating? He'd be Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. That would be their like name, their combined name. Chuck Norris. All right. So beside the fact that we had them come in, and Coach Norris has 5 state titles to his name. Besides the fact that we won a state title in soccer with her as the AD and now co-AD, Kent Bean leading the way with that program. Beside all that, yesterday we had an introduction meeting with Coach Reed where Philip Fulmer was in town. Chewy. They had
Is that who Johnny sent in the group chat?
Yeah, they had a luncheon over at the country club, and Fulmer was there. And there were like 40 to 50 individuals involved in the program or supporters of the program who were there. I was not there. I had a different meeting that I needed to attend for work, and Johnny went over there and had some good things to say about that meeting. But there are as a community, athletics are moving in a positive direction, and we're seeing that positive progress. A lot of that come to fruition. A lot of our programs are starting to see success. The other challenges that we face as a district, she's been combating some of those. She's been going to those school board meetings and fighting for our student athletes and stuff. And so I do think that it's a loss of a tremendous asset. She's extremely well qualified for that position, probably overqualified for that position, and I'm disappointed. But it, again, doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah. Christopher Lambert jumped in. He says, kids these days need to watch the classics we grew up on. Without all the edits. The youth assistified, just saying. And then he says, good morning from Alabama, working an event. Cool. Brett Crabtree talking about the announcement saying, are y'all going to let me have my afternoon show? Don't tempt us with a good time.
Oh, gosh.
Andrew jumped in the chat as well.
Good morning, Andrew.
And Brett Crabtree said, is that Joe's pickleball racket? No, it's not. It's my electrified, which you could use, by the way.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
An electric pickleball racket?
That would be kind of sick. No, it's actually a racket my mom bought me whenever we had that cicada swarm last year or the year before, and it's just been sticking around it's been possibly the most useful investment.
Yeah, it was like two years ago that thing was.
That thing has killed more bugs than like probably an exterminator.
I think that when you look back on the last 5 to 7 years, it's pretty insane. I mean, the COVID, the cicadas.
It's all been sort of like we'll see what else we can throw at them. Do you know what I mean? It
seems really weird, the amount of
just disasters that are happening over and over and over again, bordering on like what? What are you saying? Like biblical?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it was so weird the other day. I saw 4 guys on horses just going across the street,
through the middle of town.
I don't know what they were doing. That one guy on that white horse looked pretty sick, though.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, so it is a trending Tuesday. Those are some of the local things that are going on. We will not have Rob Kortner in studio this morning.
Really?
Again, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
He's out of town.
All right.
But Chewy, I did want to throw this out there as well. Today on the show, we're going to go through some of the nationally trending stuff, the stuff that's on Twitter. But if folks want to talk about their own trending topics, if they want us to jump into something, they can do so. And I throw this number out there. I throw the Facebook information out there, and I tell people to get involved in the show, like some of the folks have on the FMO Facebook feed already. You can do that. You can call in. The phone number is 931-305. No, that's not right. I've got the. Oh, that's the text line.
Yeah, that's the text line.
931-967-1340. I was like, why do I have this phone number in here twice? The text line is 931-305-5611. The phone line that you can call in is 931-967-3500. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not the 1340
The
number.
1340 is the information line.
Yeah,
I got all my numbers all jumbled up.
The cool thing about the text line, though,
Let me
is
try and
it's-
confuse them a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, are you not done yet? My
No,
bad.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the text line is anonymous, so if you got something you'd like to say and you don't want to put it on the FMO Facebook stream, you can text it over there on the text line, and we'll see it, but we won't know who it's from. Unless we already know your number, Brett.
Yeah, except for it's Brett.
Yeah.
No, so I received a text message from Johnny Hand. He said Philip Fulmer was also at the school board meeting last night.
Wow.
As well. Yeah.
Wow.
That's tremendous. So I didn't get to go to the school board meeting last night, Chewy. I was up in McMinnville.
I heard.
The kids had a tennis match.
Did it go well?
Jack and G. Jack's only in 6th grade, and they had him playing like number 4 on the varsity.
Oh, my gosh.
So he's playing against like 7th and 8th graders. Jack lost, I think, 6-4. He challenged the kid a little bit, but couldn't get the win. G did not play her best last night. She lost in a tiebreaker, but then in her singles match, but then won her doubles match. Started playing a little bit better as it went on, but took me all the way up to McMinnville. I will say this: I did not realize, and I've been up there before, but I did not really kind of grasp how cool their little area is. We've been talking, about our athletic facilities or our community facilities and how they're kind of all spread out. Warren County has this little area, and they've got one of those old school playgrounds, which kind of reminds me of the one that they've got up in Tullahoma, or what Adventure Mountain used to be, the wooden.
Oh, yeah, like a wooden castle kind of look.
Yeah, so they've got that, a bunch of tennis and pickleball courts, and this is all in one area. They've got a huge pool area that they were preparing, similar to the one that they've got, again, like up in Tullahoma. Then they've got a skate park. Then they've got, what else do they have over there? I don't know. They had a bunch of stuff all in one area, and it was right next to their schools.
Wow.
It was really neat.
So, like, the students could go and just walk there.
Yeah, it was like a whole big thing.
Wow.
It was like a big park. So it was kind of cool. But what it again brought to my attention is we have all that stuff, just in different spots.
Yeah.
Except for the skate park. We don't have a skate park.
We do need a skate park. I would actually argue that it's a bordering on a necessity. I think it's a good idea. There's not a lot of there's a lot of actually like good skaters around here, and they're all having to migrate to go skate.
Poor Crosby. Crosby tried to go skating a couple of weeks ago and went up to a church parking lot and got yelled at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
pretty
about right.
disappointing.
The amount of places that my friends and I got kicked out of for skateboarding is it was ridiculous. However, it was at that time where everyone still believed like if you're a skateboard, you're.
I think that it's still that time apparently.
I don't get like if you see a child on a skateboard, is there not some party who's like, God, thank God that kid is getting some exercise and outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's getting some sunshine.
Yeah.
But no. But I agree. I think there should be a skate park. Brett says, I have no problem saying what's on my mind and letting people know it's me. And talking about the text messages. And then Lambo jumped in saying they need to add the playbook. They need to add a play into their playbook called the Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
I think that's tremendous. What is that called when you got a guy, like a famous guy, and he's dating a famous girl, and they smash their names together?
Oh, I know it's shipping. Yeah.
Shipping?
Maybe I don't know what it is then. What are you calling it?
Well, like when they take the first name of one guy and they merge it with the last name of the girl and
I'm
vice versa.
Listen,
and they come up with those, like, the names.
Hit us up in the FMO Facebook stream. Learn us some English this morning.
I don't know what that's called. But when you take Coach Chuck Reed, his first name, and you put it with David Norris's last name,
It's the
Chuck
Chuck Norris.
And I think that's pretty much the coolest thing ever.
It is kind of awesome. I will, and sitting in here yesterday listening to them talk, they both had that like there's like that, you know what I'm talking about. You know this.
Chewy wanted to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, like they have this like aura about them where they almost inspire you to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could like definitely tell they expect a lot out of those boys.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, when they were saying that, it didn't sound like they were expecting them because they wanted them to win. They wanted them to succeed. You know what I mean? There's a difference there.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in seeing what the athletes have to say about some of the coaching changes and sort of the culture change that's coming. So just saying.
Well, when we come back, we're going to get into some things. I've got some things that I've got to move to. I've got to make sure that I do in hour number 2 because while there's kids in the car, I don't want to talk about them. but they are trending topics. And I think when we come back, I think we're going to have I want to talk about this one, but I can't because of what he said. I think when we come back, we'll talk about what Aaron Glenn said. There's a few different things. Aaron Glenn is a former NFL player, and he was talking about Fernando Mendoza. So Fernando Mendoza tweeted something like 6 years ago, and Aaron Glenn is trying to cancel Fernando Mendoza. And I'll tell you,
still doing that?
Well, I'll tell you what Mendoza said. It was so heinous.
Oh, okay.
Chewy, it was so heinous. I'll tell you what he said when we come back, and we'll ask our listeners whether or not they think that we should still be canceling people.
So Brett Crabtree coming in, portmanteau, with the combination of the things.
Is that what it's called?
I assume.
I don't know.
I'm just trusting Brett.
We'll have to look it up. There's no way that
yeah.
makes that.
Wow.
That doesn't. That's not what that makes.
Okay.
We'll see. All right, we'll be back on the other side. It is the starting lineup fueled by Loco Coffee. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Spring is in the air, and so are fresh new savings at Furniture Merchandise Outlet, FMO, right here in Tullahoma. Ready to refresh your space? From living rooms and bedrooms to dining sets and mattresses, FMO has the styles you want at prices you'll love. No long waits, no sticker shock. Just take it home today. Visit them at 105 North Jackson Street in Tullahoma or browse anytime at fmotn.com. Furniture Merchandise Outlet, where spring cleaning turns into a spring upgrade.
Hey Rebel Nation, Dr. Orr and the caring team at Winchester Family Dentistry are proud to back every Franklin County athlete this season. From first grade flossers to varsity veterans, we believe healthy smiles build confident champions. Whether you need a routine cleaning, a last minute sports card, or a full smile makeover, we've got you covered right here in Winchester. Call 931-967-4143 or visit WinchesterFamilyDentistryTN.com to schedule. Winchester Family Dentistry, keeping Franklin County smiling one game at a time.
Get ready for another absolutely warm and beautiful day. Today's going to be partly sunny with a high all the way up to 80 degrees. Got some southwest winds coming in from 5 to 10 miles per hour with some gusts as high as 20 to keep you cool during this hot summer day. Stay tuned to ESPN Radio Winchester 1340 for all of your wild weather updates.
This is Daryl from Columbus, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Check in scissor hands. I'm the wrong guy to ask, but what's the secret to a good haircut?
A good haircut makes you feel confident. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when you get that haircut, you're going to walk out that barbershop, you're going to look in the mirror, and you're going to be like, yeah, that's it. And you're going to tip the barber.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC Network.
We apologize if this is your first time, but yes, unfortunately, this is normal. You're listening to the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester. So, former player and now coach Aaron Glenn shared his thoughts, Chewy, on a tweet that Fernando Mendoza put out years ago. And it's my understanding that he's not the only one that feels this way. He said, I think it's disgusting. I think it would be a disservice to the league to take a player like that number 1 overall in this draft. I don't know. Maybe he's hoping that Fernando Mendoza falls to him and his team. I don't know. Here's the deal, though. This is what Fernando Mendoza tweeted. There was a picture. I don't want to say it was like LeBron James or something. And it said, "This is why." And it was a picture of, what was his name? Derek Chauvin or whatever, the guy who had his knee on the neck. He was kneeling on the neck.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin, who was kneeling on the neck of George Floyd in that picture. It said, "This is why," and then next to it there was a picture of Colin Kaepernick kneeling on the sideline during the national anthem. Mm-hmm. And Fernando Mendoza tweeted, "You need to explain the context of the first photo of the cop on the man because you never know what he did wrong." Now, I don't know who saves a tweet like that. The tweet has been deleted and all the things, but he's getting all this backlash from something he put out there years ago. And I don't think, and again, I don't know the timeline on it. I don't know if Fernando Mendoza knew at the time or where in the process of the whole Colin Kaepernick kneeling thing we were.
It does seem like it was a little uninformed.
But again, going back to what he's saying in his tweet, you need to explain the context of the first photo of the cop on the man because you never know what he did wrong. Regardless of obviously what he did wrong, we all know how that situation played out. But all he's saying is that you need to explain the context and asking for the full picture of the situation. I don't think that he was saying, he may not have even realized who, because he doesn't call him Derek, or he doesn't call him George Floyd or Derek. He calls him the cop and the man.
It sounds like he doesn't even know who that is.
Right. And so I don't know as far as the context of where Fernando Mendoza's head was 7 years ago or 6 years ago or whenever this tweet was originally made. But to say that because of that tweet, he shouldn't be picked number one overall, it wasn't like an overtly racist or nasty or anything kind of tweet.
It's just kind of ignorant.
It was just, yeah. But what it really brings me back to is, what the heck are we still doing trying to cancel people for having opinions? You don't have to like people and their opinions on things.
I'll play devil's advocate. I imagine there's probably still a lot of sore feelings about what happened right there, and rightly so. So he may have just seen that, and it just sort of triggered a reaction to what he saw. He may not have understand the full context of it sounds like Fernando had no clue who the man and the cop was, and the fact that he deleted it is probably because he was educated about who they were. You know what I mean? So he probably just saw some kneeling and then posted a picture. Now, should he have known better and maybe done some research? Absolutely.
So
is he a bad person because of that? I don't think so.
So to me, in regard to situations like this, and I go back to the things like the Trump derangement syndrome and all the other things that people put out there, I think that there's a lot to that. People are so driven by their emotions, right? And when you've got the media and you've got these news sources and these outlets that are constantly shoving stuff down people's throats and trying to paint this, narrative all the time, and they're telling a story, trying to make it even more than it is at times, they're purposefully, the news media is purposefully and willfully trying to control and manipulate people. And then you've got people who a lot of times have no actual knowledge about the situation at all, and they're completely driven by emotion, leading social justice campaigns and other things like that. But what it all goes back to is ignorance on both sides.
Well,
you've got people who either they're ignorant and don't understand it from one context, or people who are ignorant and don't understand it from another context, and then they start getting emotional, and that's where this constant clash between either side comes in. They don't care the facts. They don't care about the facts.
They care about how it feels.
Right. And we got to stop allowing ourselves to be controlled by our feelings. And it happens locally. We'll put something on the Facebook page, and people without any knowledge will emotionally respond with something completely off base. And then then when I challenge them on it, because sometimes I get on there, and if you post something that is emotionally charged with no logic or no sense behind it, and I ask you to back that up, or I ask you to give us some more, give me some context, give me something, people get outraged at me. But it happens on this level as well. And the reason why this is an important discussion is, and I want to bring this full circle, whether it's something that we talk about locally or something that you hear, nationally, your feelings are valid. I'm not saying that they're not valid. It's okay to feel a certain way, but your feelings and your emotions oftentimes are controlled to a certain level by the amount of knowledge that you have regarding the situation. Sometimes if you do some research to the other side, you realize it's not really black or white, it's somewhere in the gray, and your feelings, your emotions stop leading you, and you can start working on a solution based on the actual facts.
I think they can go both ways, though. Like, you can have people who are so against a subject that they can't talk about it, but you can also have people who are so invested in the subject that they're not worth talking to anymore. Where there's such a sycophant to whatever you're saying, is that anything and everything that this subject does or doesn't do, that they will just automatically agree with. Because it validates their own feelings. And I think that's what you're saying, is when you get both sides of these arguments, it's like you're not having anything constructive anymore. You're just mudslinging. You know what I mean? And there at the end of this conversation, which there will not be one, someone will just stop responding. Nothing productive will have happened, and it doesn't help anybody.
Well, and that's going back to constructive conversations. We joked about it when we first started the show. Social media and the internet and stuff like that. It's hard to find constructive conversations that happen on the internet.
Matthew Ledbetter jumped in saying, sounds like Aaron Glenn has an agenda. I think people are still upset over Wisconsin and Mendoza winning it all.
Indiana and Mendoza winning it all. But yeah, so here's the thing. Going back to having the conversations, let me put it this way, okay? Regardless of whether or not there's any substance to Glenn's feelings towards Mendoza, when you take a position on race against an argument or in an argument, then the argument becomes about race rather than about what the actual situation may be about. And I'm bringing this as far as like ESPN has a lot, Stephen A. Smith and a lot of these guys, what they have a tendency to do, because it enrages both sides, it'll upset the people who think that it's a racist situation, and they immediately hear, oh, it's racist. And then you got the other side that says, it's not racist. Stephen A. Smith is a jerk, and everything is about race to him. And instead, there's this thing in the middle that has nothing to do with race, this problem in the middle that may have little to nothing to do with race, that now can't be fixed, can't be worked on, because we're back to talking about race. We got something in the middle, a real problem that we can't find constructive progress on. We can't make constructive progress on fixing that problem because it's about something else. And it doesn't always have to be race. It can be something else in our community, for example. We have seen people jump into the Facebook comments and make it about race, but it could be, the other day there was a comment about, it could be about money. It could be about a lot of different things. And if you make it just about one thing and make an overarching general statement like that, you're not coming with a solution. You're not helping build a constructive conversation. You're just dropping a grenade on it and then watching all the ants scatter around it.
You're using a straw man argument because it's just like that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it completely detracts any constructive conversation. So I just encourage people, if you're going to get involved in the conversations that we have, whether they be online or through the FMO Facebook feed or on the, here's what I ask. And this goes for social media as well. And I'm not going to change the world making this argument. But here's what I would ask is, how many times as a parent or as an adult or as a boss or whatever do we tell people, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions? Like, don't come to the conversation with more issues or more problems. Let's get the issues out there. We'll lay them bare. Maybe this is part of the challenge. Maybe that is part of the challenge. But then once we get to the core issues, then we can start finding the solution. And I encourage people to come up with ideas for the solution. Because we have a lot of people that say it's one thing or it's another thing, and then the conversation ends. They stop at complaining. They don't move forward with the solution. And that's what, in reading this whole Fernando Mendoza thing, it felt like, is this is a dead-end conversation. This is let's just make a guy who's still, what is he, 23, 24 years old. His brain, even though he's been in college for like ever, his brain is still developing to this point. He's still not fully mature. But let's make something that he tweeted 6 years ago a huge deal and try and ruin his career and blah, 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 instead of using it as an opportunity to, I don't know, grow and make positive change. Because canceling people, and this was my whole problem with canceling people the first time around, that's not positive change. That's not addressing the. It's not going to change the way anybody feels. Having a conversation about why it's important to not open your mouth on things like this and speak ignorantly, that's a conversation worth having. Or telling kids this is why you don't put stuff on the internet that you don't want to come back and haunt you, because once it's out there forever. Those are positive conversations worth having. The problem with social media is now everybody who's ever had an opinion on anything that should have probably stayed in behind closed doors, they just put it out online and they say whatever they want. It's frustrating, though, to see conversations being had around a topic that could be constructive completely demolished by something that has nothing to do with the core issue.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a quick break in here. When we come back, the NFL is considering, Chewy, going to an 18-game schedule.
Compared to?
It's currently at 17 games, regular season schedule. It used to be 16 games.
Wow. See if we can get that to 20.
The question is more football better?
Oh.
Is more football better?
I just assumed that'd be a yes for you.
I know.
Okay.
But I am actually going to probably surprise you when we come back. It is the starting lineup. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
The starting lineup with Joe and Chewy is presented by Loco in Winchester. Right here in Winchester, Loco is doing things their own way. From locally roasted Loco coffee to a one-of-a-kind shop experience. It's a place that's built for the Franklin County community. So if you haven't stopped by yet, now's the time. Support local. Drink Loco coffee, fueling Franklin County mornings. Roasted right here in Franklin County. And don't forget to tune into the starting lineup, weekdays from 7 to 9.
Opioid addiction doesn't discriminate. It can affect anyone. Addiction is not a moral failure. It's a health condition, and recovery is possible. The Franklin County Prevention Coalition is working to reduce stigma and connect individuals to treatment, recovery support, and overdose prevention resources. We are stronger together, and when recovery begins, lives become stronger without it. Find help at fcpctn.org. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Spring is a season of renewal, and at High Point Health System, with Ascension St. Thomas, your health is always in season. From routine checkups to advanced care, their dedicated team is here to help you feel your best, today and every day. Compassionate care, backed by the strength of Ascension St. Thomas. This spring, take a moment for your health. Learn more or find a provider at highpointhealthsystem.com. High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas. Caring for you for every season of life.
It's time for a local news break from the 931 Go News Center.
Franklin County High School has announced a major addition to its football staff. Head coach Chuck Reed joined ESPN Radio Winchester Monday morning to introduce David Norris as the Rebels' new defensive coordinator beginning with the 2026 season. Norris brings an impressive resume, including 5 state championships, 4 of them in Tennessee, and previously worked alongside Coach Reed at Brentwood Academy. Coach Norris says his mission extends beyond the field. He emphasized leadership, motivation, and encouraging student-athletes to become men and women of integrity. He plans to challenge players to set and achieve goals while fostering enthusiasm for learning and preparing them to be productive members of the community. Franklin County officials welcome Norris as a key piece in continuing to build the football program's culture and competitiveness. In state news, Representative Iris Rutter of Winchester has introduced legislation aimed at addressing reckless gunfire in crowded settings. House Bill 1757 would make it a Class A misdemeanor to recklessly fire a gun into the air, ground, water, or nearby objects at public gatherings of 25 or more people. The bill seeks to specifically address so-called celebratory gunfire and strengthen accountability in crowded environments. Current reckless endangerment laws classify certain offenses as felonies, and the proposed legislation would clarify how reckless discharge applies at public events. The measure includes exceptions for self-defense, lawful hunting, and activity at shooting ranges, and it ensures the topic is addressed in state-authorized handgun safety courses. The proposal follows the July 4, 2025 death of 61-year-old John Cobb, who was struck by a stray bullet during a fireworks event near Timms Ford Lake. The bill has advanced out of the Criminal Justice Subcommittee and was heard by the Judiciary Committee last week. For more local news and updates, visit 931go.com. Stay informed and stay connected to your community with ESPN Radio Winchester.
Most local businesses don't overspend on advertising. They misspend on it. They throw things at the wall to see what sticks. Some radio here, a boosted post there, maybe a billboard somewhere else, with none of it working together. At ESPN Radio Winchester, we focus on reducing wasted marketing dollars. When your message is consistent and strategically placed across trusted local media platforms, every dollar reinforces the next one. That means more people remembering your name when it matters. Market smarter with ESPN Radio 1340-1069 WCDT Winchester.
The opinions of the hosts are their own, and they do not represent the opinions of, well, really anybody else. You're listening to the starting lineup. Now back to Joe and Chewy.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340-1069 WCDT Winchester. Joe Abraham alongside Chewy. Chewy, in a break, you made some good points about the whole cancel culture thing, and you referenced how, I guess not that certain cancellations of people were warranted, but it's more revelations of character.
Yeah, not necessarily a cancellation, but more of a like you said, revelation.
Well,
should we even say the names I said?
Yeah, you can.
Like Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Technically, I would say that Bill Cosby was canceled over that, but at the same time, I think that disassociating with him for that makes sense to me.
Right.
People being uncomfortable working with him after learning about some of the things he did. Yeah. That makes sense.
Right.
Other than that, I think I don't get the whole cancel thing.
Well, to your point, we have rules and laws and other things like that. I mean, you can't just go around doing whatever you want. But this is what I think is that when the public, it becomes a problem when the public is becoming the law and order,
judge, jury, and executioner.
Off of opinions, or
vibe,
free speech, or and people will say stupid things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they should be canceled.
So Brett jumped in saying trying to cancel somebody is just people throwing a fit when someone's opinion doesn't line up with theirs. Yeah. Doug Garrett did jump in saying more games, more losses. From your local Falcons fan.
Yeah.
And then Matthew Ledbetter jumped in again saying once upon a time It was okay to have an opinion. Now it's dangerous. You never know how someone will use it, twist it, or manipulate it.
So, Chewy, also, in the break, you talked about how it's unfortunate that you can't have a different opinion now than you had 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Politicians and stuff, they have videos pop up about them saying something completely different than their stance now 20 or 30 years later. And I think that that's interesting because the more time we all spend on this earth, the more knowledge we all gain, right? The more our eyes are open. Not that we become enlightened to, any certain degree, but we do. And even as a society, we know so much more. And like me, if I look back on some of the things that I said a year ago on this show before having knowledge about certain situations versus what I say now, I'd probably be like, well, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
Right.
Because I've got more insight. I'm more knowledgeable about certain things. And as a politician or as even an employee at your own job, the more time you spend there, the more knowledge you gain and the wiser you become. Yeah, I should sound like an idiot from 10 years ago if I look back on that stuff.
I always live by the idea that if you look back 10 years and you don't cringe at yourself, then you probably haven't grown.
Right.
You should be looking back and going like, golly, I can't believe I was doing that. Or
Yeah.
I can't believe I was wearing that. It means that you've matured, you've grown. And it's a good self-check where if you look back and you're like 10 years ago, you see yourself and you see either exactly the same thing or someone you wish you were.
Right.
Do some reevaluation.
I don't know. I think that you're talking to some people in the chat who, they probably missed those Jinko jeans from the 90s.
Listen, the Jinko jeans were awesome. But
W's in the chat for Jinko jeans.
W's in the chat.
If
for
you had
Jinkos.
a pair of Jinkos or the knockoffs or the big baggy jeans,
if you dress like Fred Durst at least once, put an F in the chat.
So I had one pair of jeans like that a buddy of mine gave me. Actually, I was hanging out at his house. My parents would not let me buy Jinkos or those big wide baggy jeans, and so I went over to my buddy's house. And this was I had to be like 10 or 12. And my buddy had just gone through this growth spurt. He had shot up and he was like 6 inches taller than me at that point. And so we were hanging out in his room and he was somehow I ended up with a pair of his jeans that were too short for him. Which, when you talk about Jinko, they got to reach all the way down to the ground. They got to drag, and they got to be tearing up.
If you had Jinkos that were floods,
yeah,
I don't even want to see that.
No.
You're obviously a rollerblader if you did that.
What is going on even with that? And so I ended up he gave them to me. I think what happened was I stayed overnight at his house, and we weren't anticipating that it was going to be a sleepover.
Oh, got you.
And so he hooked me up with some clothes. So I came home, and my father looked at me, and he was like, what in God's name are you wearing? Now, this is also the same man who he discovered a Blink-182 CD one time. I was wearing my
solid choice.
I was wearing my headphones, and I was listening to my Sony Walkman.
But the CD player.
I think it was the Vio. Yeah.
Yeah.
The silver. It was a silver CD. CD player.
Yeah. You had to put it in your cargo pocket.
Yeah. And I'm walking by, and he's trying to talk to me, and I'm listening. He's like, "What are you listening to? What are you listening to? Let me listen to that, and let me see that." And so he puts it on, and he's like, "What are you listening to?" And he opens it up, and it's my Blink-182 CD. And he like snapped it in half right in front of me. Yeah. And I. Needless to say, I had at least 2 or 3 of those, so it was okay. I ended up with multiple. It's still to this day, it's one of my favorite all-time albums. But
agree. Don't waste your time on me.
He just that's the kind of guy he was. That's the kind of father he was.
Well,
think about doing that though to a kid nowadays. They'd call the cops on you.
Yeah, probably. Mom jumped in saying Jinkos. Katie said she had some knockoff Jinkos. Now I would be interested. Okay, so Katie, I love you, But at your height, I would be interested to see what Jinkos look like on you. She says, you're instantly punished for Jinko. So I guess Jinko's parents were against Jinkos at the time. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I remember them very clearly in like the late not the late 90s, but like the sort of early aughts, like up even to like 2005ish. But I do remember seeing those a lot and seeing a lot more like rollerbladers as well.
Yeah.
But that whole like Fred Durst's like sort of like scumbag kind of
95 to like 2002. What a time to be alive.
Man, it was a lawless wasteland. They had like purple ketchup and stuff. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then they had like Cheetos that would like change the color of your mouth.
Oh, man.
It was awful.
Remember
but in the best way.
This might be before your time. Who remembers the 3D Doritos?
Yes.
W's in the chat for the 3D Pillow Doritos?
Yes, dude. And then so Katie says Mimi hated them, and then Brett says I was the one judging the ones wearing Jinko jeans, but I've grown from being a judgy person and not caring what people wear. Now, Brett, I think Brett could pull off some Jinkos. we need to bring that back.
I was never really. I like I said, I had the one pair, and I never really wore them. I wore them maybe like once or twice, but they were always sitting in the bottom of my drawer. And I was kind of like Brett. I wanted to be that cool, but I knew I wasn't, and I don't know. I wasn't really like a poser type. I wasn't going to pretend to be something that I wasn't. Here's the thing. I looked at Jinkos and that kind of style as you need to know how to if a skateboard rolls over to your feet and you can't step on it and roll back, then you don't need to be wearing Jinko.
It's false valor.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna wear them.
Johnny Sands says he was too busy rocking his Bugle Boys jeans. And then Doug Garrett says, "What is Jinko?" In my best 57-year-old voice. They were those super
never heard of her.
Like those super baggy denim parachute looking pants.
Yeah.
In the 90s, Doug. I don't know about you.
Doug, think if you remember back to the 90s, they were the pants that looked like somebody took bell bottoms and stretched them out.
Yeah.
And they were huge. Now, mine were never that big. Mine were more like the straight leg baggy ones that the kids are wearing today.
Yeah.
That's kind of the ones that I had. The ones that were like huge, that was ridiculous. I was never. That was no.
I don't know about you, but in the 90s,
like a dress.
I was a bowl cut with a Canadian tuxedo. There are many pictures of me with my mom in a full Canadian tuxedo. I had the white undershirt, and like the denim jacket and the denim pants. I had a little pair of Doc Martens. Yeah. So I was pretty fly for a white guy back in the 90s. I was 4 by the end of the 90s, but hey.
I remember the day that I told my mom that I didn't want to wear overalls anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, and she loved the denim overalls and stuff. And there was one day where I was just like, Mom, I don't want to wear – the overalls aren't cool anymore. And I had that conversation, and I could see it in her eyes. It kind of like broke her heart.
Oh, no.
Yeah, her little boy.
I remember, but I also remember wearing a lot of overalls when I was a kid, too. Was that just a 90s thing, or was it just like a little kid
No,
thing?
I think it's a little kid thing.
Okay.
Which is funny and ironically, in a weird way, consider, is there a tougher contraption not to put the kid in? Like, as a parent, they're cute and things like that, and they're not hard to put a kid in overalls. But for the kid's sake, you put me in overalls, that's like putting a kid in a straitjacket.
And a little bit.
If I need to go to the bathroom, I can't get out of these things.
Yeah, you got to get fully undressed.
All right, hold on. So before we keep going with this conversation, let me wrap up the hour by saying this.
Oh, okay.
There has been this conversation regarding the 18-game NFL schedule, which would look like 6 division games, and then you've got an opportunity to play 3 whole divisions in the NFL. That's 12 games against 3 4-team divisions, which mathematically makes more sense competitively than what we've got right now, Chewy. But from a math standpoint, sometimes more isn't better. I get that they want more TV money and all the things, but I am to the point where I do feel like it's starting to water down the NFL regular season. I don't need to see the Browns lose 20 times a year. I don't need to see again, if I'm Doug Garrett, I don't need to see them lose the Falcons lose 12 times a year. I just don't need to see it. And I don't understand why we would need 18 games. I don't even like the 17. To be quite honest with you, I liked when we were at the 17-week schedule with the 16 games. I thought that's where we needed to live. And the whole 17th game, adding that, doesn't do anything for me.
You've talked about this before.
To me, you'd think more football is better. I don't think so. I think that there's just enough to make the games important. If you go any further, it starts to water it down. Honestly, there are other sports. Basketball is a good example of this. Hockey is a good example of this. Baseball. I love baseball, but 162 game regular season, 162 games, and football. I don't want to miss a game. Well, if it gets to the point where I'm okay with missing a game, that's too many games. And I'm about there.
Interesting.
So that's my opinion on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Do you guys think that they should increase it to an 18-game season? Do you think they should stay where they're at?
I would like to know from people in the chat about this because I've lamented about there being too many hockey and baseball games, and we've brought it up before about how you can miss a baseball game or two, but like the football, I think that's kind of half of the reason it's so ubiquitous is because it's kind of an event every time.
Right. Chewy already has enough anxiety. The more games you give him to not watch, the more anxiety he's going to get, right? That's why he doesn't like the long seasons, because in a regular football season, he's going to miss like all 17 games, okay?
Yeah.
But in a baseball season, he's going to miss 162 games, and that makes him feel bad. So stop making Chewy feel bad. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right, hour number 2 coming up on the other side. Outside of Jinko Jeans, let us know what the craziest style or the weirdest thing that you remember, getting into was. And when you see the kids in something today like that, like I see my daughter wearing some of those big baggy jeans. Here's the thing, is it upsets me because she's a beautiful girl and she could, from a style standpoint, could do much better than that. But also on the other side of things, I'm like, it's kind of cool that the things that we thought were cool, they make fun of us, but we were the OGs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they're paying homage to us when they do that. But back when I was in school, I remember there was a little time where we were in the 70s era, where the 70s kind of style was cool.
It was coming back.
Yeah, now it's gone all the way up to the 90s.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Also, I'll tell you something else that'll make you feel old when we come back in hour number 2 as well. It is the starting lineup fueled by Loco Coffee. This is ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
FCHS and Rebel Nation.
The Rebel Report, every weekday presented by Oaklawn Baptist Church, right here on ESPN Radio Winchester.
Welcome back to the Rebel Report. It's another exciting week for Franklin County Athletics as our teams continue to compete and build momentum heading into the final stretch of their seasons.
Let's start on the soccer pitch, where the Franklin County boys soccer team is gearing up for a big rivalry matchup. The Rebels will be in action Tuesday night as they take on Tullahoma in a highly anticipated non-district contest.
Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. at East Middle School in Tullahoma. Fans can expect an energetic atmosphere as these two programs renew their rivalry. Following the varsity match, the junior varsity squad will also take the field, giving younger Rebels an opportunity to showcase their talents.
Be sure to come out and support the team as they continue to fine-tune their play and build momentum heading toward postseason competition. Rivalry games are always exciting, and this one should be no exception.
Turning to the softball diamond, the Rebelettes are coming off an impressive performance in their most recent outing. Franklin County dominated Battle Creek this past Friday with a commanding 11-1 victory.
The Rebelettes displayed strength at the plate and in the field, controlling the game from start to finish. This win adds to their confidence as they prepare for another tough challenge early this week.
Franklin County will return to action Monday night when they host Siegel in a home matchup. First pitch is scheduled for 5:30 p.m., and the team will look to carry the momentum from their big win into this contest.
Now let's head over to the baseball field, where the Rebel baseball team also celebrated a strong performance. Franklin County secured a 5-1 victory over the Sequatchie Warriors on Friday.
The Rebels combine solid pitching with timely hitting to earn the win, setting the tone as they enter an important stretch of district play. Their next challenge comes on the road, though, as they travel to Lawrence County Monday night for the first game of their district series.
District matchups are always crucial, and a strong start to a series could provide valuable momentum as the Rebels push towards the postseason.
It's shaping up to be another exciting week for Franklin County athletics, with each team working hard and representing the Rebels with pride.
Wish all of our teams the best of luck as they continue their seasons and strive to finish strong.
That's all for this edition of the Rebel Report.
Thanks for watching, and as always,
go Rebels.
Why choose More Courtney Funeral Home? Well, they're a fifth-generation funeral home taking care of the people of Franklin County since 1905. They're committed to serving you, dedicated to providing personalized, professional, and compassionate service to help lighten your burden and help you out during these difficult times. More Courtney Funeral Home, 300 First Avenue Northwest in Winchester, 967-2222. More Courtney Funeral Home.
Got a project to tackle or a party to plan? Skip the stress and rent it instead at Reliable Rental in Winchester. From tools and heavy-duty machines to chairs, tables, and event essentials, they've got what you need to get the job done right. Whether it's work or a weekend celebration, Reliable Rental makes it easy. Stop by 2433 Deckard Boulevard in Winchester or check out everything they offer online at reliablerentalfc.com. Reliable Rental. When you need it, they've got it.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN Radio Winchester studio, it's the starting lineup. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Abraham and Chewy.
Good morning, Deckard.
Good morning, WCDT.
How are you guys out there this morning?
We are fantastic on this second day of TCAPS. It's Tuesday. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing all right. And you know what? Hearing that you guys have some TCAP going on out there, let's give each other a nice reprieve from some of the testing and just let me get some good positive energy from this pledge this morning. Do you guys think you can do that?
We have got first graders from Miss Bevers's class ready to give us the best pledge yet.
All right, let's hear it.
Good morning, Franklin County. Enjoy Deckard Elementary. We stand solid and plan. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Wow, that was a fantastic one this morning, guys. Good
That
job.
was a good one, wasn't it? All right, who's got our joke this morning? Come on up. I'm right here. And say it real loud. Tell me your name.
My name is Dustin. I have the joke. What is a knight's favorite fish?
I don't know.
A swordfish.
Hey.
That's a good one.
That was a cute one. It was. All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful day out there, Deckard, okay?
Thank you. You guys too.
See ya.
All right. A knight's favorite fish is a swordfish.
Yes.
So that's actually a good one.
I like that one.
All right. So people have gone off in the chat about all the crazy styles and the
gosh.
cool things. I love that. So I want to stop for a second. Chewy, you got the motorcycle thing, the VFW thing over there?
I do, yes.
Pull that out.
Actually, there's two of them if you want one. The fifth annual Southern Spring Thaw CMVA Vets Helping Vets 1811 Whiskey Runners. This is going to be a motorcycle ride and it is actually this Saturday, I believe.
Yeah.
Registration is at VFW Post 1893 at 6200 AEDC Road. They will be serving breakfast at 0800 for a small cost. The registration starts at 0900. First bike out at 10, last bike out at 14. It is $20 per rider and $10 per passenger. They also will be having a live and silent auctions, door prizes, live music, and also a famous cooler option, and all proceeds go to support local veterans in need.
Okay. So you're going to ride around with me Saturday, right?
Sure.
Okay. The Hoagie Rollers, and I guess since Chewy is a part of the Scooter Syndicate, we will be represented. What I may be able to do is get the kids, since it's such a beautiful ride, I may be able to get Katie and all the kids and stuff to join in. We just take the whole crew, we could bring the drone, get some drone footage at some of the stops and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so that's coming up this weekend. So, Chewy, I want to make everybody who's jumping in the chat feeling old, reminiscing about their style choices from back in the day, feel even older. All right? Consider this. When Marty McFly went back in time with Doc Brown, went back 30 years. That would be like us traveling back to 1996.
Are you kidding? No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I knew that. I'm 30.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that, dude. Dang.
Yeah. You're that old.
Dang.
Yeah. That's uncomfortable, right? Now, that being said, that's a movie that needs to be made. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So stop me here if I'm lying, but how tremendous would it be if there was not a remake, but a reboot wherein which Marty's son is like going through, maybe Doc or somebody passes away and he's going through a storage unit, or he gets keys to a storage or something, and he goes in, and there unexplicably is the DeLorean, covered, dusty, all the things, and somebody went somehow and got it or rebuilt it or something, and maybe that's part of the story, is that it's discovered like this is how it got there, but they discover it and they go back to like 96.
God.
They go back to the 90s.
That would be a beautiful movie. And I'm talking, I want to see full hokey, like rose-colored glasses 90s, like Hackers level 90s, where everyone's on rollerblades and drinking Jolt Cola, and like they all got the beepers and stuff, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I want to see what Doug Garrett looked like in 96.
That would be, I wonder what he probably looked like my dad. They probably had a very similar style.
30 years ago, Lindsay says, with our Airwalks Adidas sandals with white tube socks.
Yes.
Okay, so I never wore the socks with the sandals, but I will say this: the Adidas sandals, I had a pair of those with the little nub things in them, and I don't know if it was just me or what, but those things would hurt my feet.
After you stand on them for a little bit too long. That's what the socks were there for, is for the cushion. You don't let those
People
old...
with the socks and the sandals. Come on now. We don't wear socks with the sandals. No. You got to let your dogs hang out.
I actually have two different pairs of socks on right now.
The dogs need... Oh, my gosh. The dogs need some air. How did you just get your foot up on the table?
I am upsettingly flexible for a fat man. Like, it's not cool. Like, I can do some pretty wild stuff.
He's over here doing a pretzel.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Okay.
What? Let me ask. I just want to ask this just for the comment section. Okay. Drop your what was your '90s fit back in the day? Because there's a few different flavors. You know what I mean?
So I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
I was more of like the Matthew Ledbetter says Reebok pumps. I was more of the I never got the Reebok pumps. Sneakers were a necessity from my family. They were not something that we got the good ones of. There was 9 kids, so.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But I was one of the more jock athlete kind of kids. So I grew up, I had tons of football jerseys.
Yep.
So like I remember I got the Tim Couch jersey when he was I got his home jersey, I got his away jersey. When the Browns were out of the league for a little bit, I had Kerry Collins for the Carolina Panthers. I had his black jersey and his white jersey for the Panthers. I had Troy Aikman's jersey. I was always wearing a jersey. That was my fit. With a turtleneck underneath it.
Lindsay Brewer says, Timberland boots. I remember my younger brother, when he was born, someone got him some novelty baby Timberland boots.
Gotta have the Tims, man.
Yeah.
I was never cool enough for the Tims.
We had a lot of knockoffs, or like we would like go to Goodwill and find them. And I remember I had the Walmart brand Reebok pumps that had the little button in the side of them.
Yeah.
Where you could make them tighter.
Yeah.
And
Ledbetter says, I had Reebok pump baseball gloves. Still have it.
What? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Crabtree says, my 90s fit was just not fitting in.
You were your own soul, Brett, and that's a good thing. And then he says that he knows somebody who actually has a DeLorean. Hold on.
We need to make that movie. If
Yeah.
somebody's got a DeLorean, what if Chewy and I made that movie? So, Brett says my 90s fit was just not fitting in. What Brett does not realize is that, ironically, that was everybody's 90s fit. Everybody in the 90s, that was the goal, was to not fit in.
Right, you had to make a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brett, by not fitting in, you were fitting in.
Everybody knows what mine was. I bet you there's probably a picture of me in, like, there's probably lots of, like, if I find them, I'll post them on the Facebook page.
Baby Chewy, just a hairy Wookiee. Or were you hairless? Were you a hairless baby Wookiee?
I got a mustache, like a full mustache in 5th grade, if that answers your
I thought
question.
you were going to say it, 2 months old.
No, I had that bowl cut, though, the 90s, like, bowl cut where it was, like, shaved all the way up.
Yeah.
You know? And, boy, I am
Never
like,
had never rocked the bowl cut.
Really?
I had, my best friend had one. Jason Till just had one.
That sounds like a guy in the 90s.
Yeah. Now, how about this? The guy that lived up the, does everybody remember the rat tail?
Mom would not let me have one.
J.J. Richards, who lived up the hill from me, he was my other best friend. Ironically enough, too, both my best friends in the 90s were Dolphins fans. One was my next door neighbor. The other one lived on the other side of town. They were both Dolphins fans, and we lived, I don't know, like 45 minutes from Buffalo. And I don't know what it was with them wanting to be Dolphins fans. Maybe they just didn't like their dads. I don't know.
What is with New York and Florida? Why do all the old mobsters go and retire in Florida? Do you know what I mean? Like, that happens
It's
so
warm.
much.
I don't
It's
know.
weird.
They want to get out of the snow. They're
Even
tired.
Trump did it.
That's
You know
where
what
they
I mean?
go.
My point being,
Says a lot.
Matthew Ledbetter says, different colored jeans, including stone-washed. Yeah, I remember. With, like, those Levi's, that they would sell them like that.
So if mobsters retire from New York to Florida, where do, like, rednecks, where do Tennesseans retire to?
Their family farm. You know, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
That's a tough one.
I need
like,
to know.
Where do Tennessee mobsters go and retire?
I don't know.
Hit us up in the chat.
I don't think that they leave. I don't think that they go anywhere. They just stay where they are at.
I think that, you know. Well, you know what? A lot of that's not even the point of this conversation. My point being, like, you almost got me, but you didn't. I'm
almost.
smarter than that, Joe
I tried.
Abraham. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, let me ask you this though. So I was in the 90s. I dressed like that because I was subjected to what my mom thought would be cute on me. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I got into like middle school and high school, that was like peak.
Chewy was a 2000s kid.
I was. Well, yeah. I was born in like I'm a 90s kid, but only in like qualification. Do you know what I mean? Like I just barely got onto the list.
Like how I am with the 80s. I qualified in the 80s, but
like you don't remember the 80s.
No.
You grew up in the 90s.
Right.
Same way for me is like I remember, like I have plenty of flashes from things that I can guarantee was in the 90s, but no like core memories. A lot of my core memories were the early aughts, that Frutiger Arrow with like the cool tech sort of generation.
I don't know anything you just said.
But mine was actually way more embarrassing.
Okay.
My fashion choices then. And they're on Facebook if anybody wants to go and find these. But mine was emo culture, like hardcore, because I was like, MySpace had just come out, and it was like the death metal bands were starting to do it, and it was like cool to be like that. Well, not cool. It wasn't cool. But like I was like, that's me, and I was the only kid in school who did that too. So, but I was wearing tight jeans before.
Tight jeans were cool.
I was wearing them early too. Like I was going to like Hot Topic. That was the only place you could get men's tight fitting jeans from.
I just want to throw this out there for anybody listening. Tight jeans were never cool. So,
yeah, it says I had a pair of red, purple, checkerboard pants. I was wearing 2 belts. Yeah, I was sick. You know where they drew the line, though? Is they wouldn't let me dye my hair black at the time. And they didn't. They were like, nope, that's gone too far. And I'm like,
that's
okay.
brutal, because that's like emo 101.
Right, yeah. But I had dark brown hair, so it was okay.
Right.
But
okay. You're close enough.
If I find those pictures, I'm sure Mom still has them.
Ledbetter says Popcorn Sutton stayed between East Tennessee and Western North Carolina.
Really?
Well, they got to stay close to the moonshine. They don't want to get too far from the shine.
I did not know that's where he was. I that's interesting.
Okay. Shifting gears just real quick. So
I don't know why I got so passionate about that topic. I'm sorry.
Interestingly enough, there's 2 things that now that we've moved into the second hour that I want to talk about. So the first thing is Jamarcus Russell fired back at critics who still claim he's the biggest draft bust ever.
Oh.
Right? Which there is debate. Now, I personally would agree that he is the biggest bust ever. But there is debate whether or not it's him or Ryan Leaf, and I'll tell you why there's a little bit of a debate there. But he said, I'm mad as bleep. Don't call me no bust, period. I'm going to show you a bust, period. And then he went on to say something derogatory.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be. He's always been kind of referenced as the biggest bust in draft history. We got the draft coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I think it's worth talking about.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I think that he is the biggest draft bust ever. The only other person that even comes close in my mind is Ryan Leaf. Now, I went and I did some research. Ryan Leaf was taken 2nd overall after Peyton Manning in, what was that, 90, is that Peyton Manning or was that Eli Manning? No, that was Peyton Manning, I think. 1998 draft? 1998 NFL draft. Ryan Leaf only won 4 games in his whole career, Chewy.
4?
4 games.
Wow.
All right. So, yeah, that was the year that Peyton Manning was drafted number 1 overall. I thought it was Peyton and Ryan. Peyton, of course, by the Colts, goes on, has a Hall of Fame career, yada, yada, yada. Ryan Leaf was drafted 2nd overall. Now, the argument that you could make for Ryan Leaf being the biggest bust ever was that when him and Peyton Manning came out of college, I want to say Leaf went to like Washington State or something, but when they came out of college, they were like considered 1 in 1A. It was basically whichever one of those 2 guys that you took, they were going to be Hall of Famers. You were going to win a Super Bowl. You were going to do amazing things. It was going to be franchise-changing opportunity for you to pick one of those 2 guys. And they hyped them up so much in the late 90s going into that draft. And Leaf never panned out, ended up having substance abuse issues, other things like that.
So just for me, can you clarify one thing, though?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a case of mistaken priorities where they're like, you expected so much out of this player and they didn't provide that expectation? Or is it like, not only did they not meet the expectation, but they were also just a bad player? Was it both of those things? Or if he wasn't expected to be this Hall of Famer, would he had a pretty okay to mediocre?
So both, and I'll tell you, Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell both had talent. Ryan Leaf was more, and we've talked about this, Ryan Leaf was more of like a coach killer, I think.
Oh,
where he looked really good in shorts and could make a lot of throws and this, that, and the other thing. But Ryan Leaf, I think that it was more of like the bright lights and the spotlight and the fame and all the things. He went to San Diego. I think it all kind of was too much for him, and he was never really that guy. I don't know as much with him as I do with Jamarcus Russell. Here's the thing. So in 98, he came into the league. He started 9 games, Leaf did. They went 3-6 in those 9 games. Then in 99, he was injured, had shoulder issues. And then in 2000, they went, he comes back and they go 1-8. And that's when they kind of moved on from him, and he ended up with the Cowboys for a year, filled in some, went 0-3 with the Cowboys. His career completion percentage is below 50%, which means he threw more incompletions than he did completions. He had 14 touchdowns to 36 interceptions. His rookie year, he had 2 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. He was just awful. And I couldn't tell you exactly why, if it was the substance abuse issues, if it was the injury, if it was just, but that rookie year, I mean, he started out, they were horrible. The Chargers were garbage, and he just never looked like he belonged even in the league. Jamarcus Russell's a little bit different. Jamarcus Russell was taken number 1 overall. Russell was supposed to kind of be, he was supposed to like change the game at quarterback. Jamarcus Russell was 6'6", 265 pounds. He was huge. Leaf was 6'5", 245, so Leaf wasn't a small guy either. But Russell was huge, and he had a absolute cannon, a howitzer of an arm. He could throw the ball over them. There were mountains over there. And he was just one of those guys who I don't think he ever watched film. I don't think that he ever took it seriously. And the difference, so he won 7 games. Ryan Leaf only won 4. Ryan Leaf statistically is worse, 14 touchdowns to 36 interceptions. Jamarcus Russell threw 18 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. Russell had more, I think, talent, but that's why I think Russell is more of a bust. Coming out, Oakland picked him number 1 overall as opposed to number 2 overall, so I think that that's a big qualifier as being the biggest bust ever. But Jamarcus Russell's level of talent, in my mind, was way higher than Ryan Leaf's was. And Russell didn't deal with the injury that Leaf dealt with the shoulder injury, and to me, he was more of a disappointment than Leaf was. Leaf and the Chargers, it just never, they were just so bad. It never felt like anybody could kind of save that organization from the quarterback position. It felt like they needed a whole overhaul, and they eventually got it. Russell came in, and when Russell came in, you had the feeling that whatever team Jamarcus Russell ended up on, he was so good that he was going to elevate the entire team, that they were automatically going to be good. I don't remember ever having that feeling with Ryan Leaf. That never happened. And the Raiders, to this day, still have not, I don't feel like, gotten past the whole Jamarcus Russell thing. I mean, it's been 20 years almost, and it seems like they're the same team they were back then. Maybe Fernando Mendoza can turn them around. I don't know, though. It seems like they need a lot more help. And what I would hate to see is for Mendoza, who is a really talented guy, to come into the league and have a similar outcome to one of those guys. But But the question is, for listeners, who do you think is a bigger bust, Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf? Or is there somebody else out there that you think is a bigger bust? The last question I have for listeners in regard to busts in the NFL is from a Titans standpoint. We've got a lot of Titans fans. Who is the biggest Titans bust of all time, do you think? Drop them in the chat if you've got any opinions. Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf? Who's the bigger bust of the two? All right, we'll be back on the other side. It is the starting lineup. I'm going to tell you about something that's happening in Louisiana, I believe it is. Is it Louisiana or Mississippi? Which I think is a good thing. It's quite disturbing, but I think it's good.
Oh, okay.
How's that for a teaser?
Yeah.
We'll be back on the other side. It is the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340, 1069, WCDT Winchester.
Busy day? No time to feel sick? At Complete Express Care in Winchester, we know life moves fast.
From the 931 Go Weather Center, it's time for an ESPN Radio Winchester weather update, presented by Bennett's Pharmacy.
Get ready for another absolutely warm and beautiful day. Today's going to be partly sunny with a high all the way up to 80 degrees. Got some southwest winds coming in from 5 to 10 miles per hour with some gusts as high as 20 to keep you cool during this hot summer day. Stay tuned to ESPN Radio Winchester 1340 for all of your wild weather updates.
At Bennett's Pharmacy in Winchester, we're more than a pharmacy. We're your partner in health. Conveniently located at 1201 Dinah Shore Boulevard, we're here to serve you with fast, friendly, and personalized service. Need prescriptions filled? Looking for over-the-counter products? We've got you covered. Plus, enjoy local delivery and expert advice from our caring team. Call us today at 931-967-2777 or stop by Bennett's Pharmacy at 1201 Dinah Shore Boulevard today.
Got a project to tackle or a party to plan? Skip the stress and rent it instead at Reliable Rental in Winchester. From tools and heavy-duty machines to chairs, tables, and event essentials, they've got what you need to get the job done right. Whether it's work or a weekend celebration, Reliable Rental makes it easy. Stop by 2433 Deckard Boulevard in Winchester or check out everything they offer online at ReliableRentalFC.com. Reliable Rental. When you need it, they've got it.
When life hits you hard, you need someone who will stand up and fight back for you. Andy Davis, attorney at law, serves Southern Middle Tennessee in personal injury, criminal defense, family law, bankruptcy, and more. Call today to set up your free consultation, where you'll get clear answers, honest guidance, and a plan built around your needs. Online at southerninjurylaw.com. This is an advertisement. Andy Davis, attorney at law, responsible for content. No representation is made that the quality of legal services is greater than that of other lawyers.
The future of healthcare starts here. The Southern Tennessee Regional Health System, Winchester and Suwannee, are joining the High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas, a health network serving communities across the state. We're working together to expand access, improve clinical quality, and keep you close to home throughout your care journey. Your favorite providers aren't going anywhere. It's the same care you know and trust, now with a new name. High Point Health with Ascension St. Thomas. Learn more at highpointhealthsystem.com.
Looking to make a difference in Franklin County? The Franklin County Prevention Coalition works every day to build a safer, healthier community, free from substance misuse. Through education, outreach, and strong local partnerships, they empower parents, schools, and leaders to prevent addiction and support positive choices. From youth programs to community events, the coalition is here for you. Learn more or get involved today at fcpctn.org. Together, we prevent.
This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Farmers, gardeners, and homeowners. Franklin Farmers Co-op in Winchester is your one-stop shop from top-quality feed and seed to fencing, equipment, and even pet supplies. We have everything you need to keep your farm or home running smoothly. Our knowledgeable team is here to help you every step of the way. Stop by Franklin Farmers Co-op, conveniently located at 2229 Deckard Boulevard, or give us a call at 931-967-5511. Franklin Farmers Co-op, rooted in your success, growing with your community.
Looking for a reliable car at an affordable price? Stop by Money Down Motors here in Decker. We specialize in quality pre-owned vehicles with low down payments and flexible financing options. No matter your credit history, drive away today with a car you'll love and a payment plan that works for you. Visit us at 1945 Deckard Boulevard or call 931-962-3404 for more info. At Money Down Motors LLC, your ride is waiting.
Domino's is proud to sponsor Franklin County Athletics, and the Winchester Domino's is locally owned by a Franklin County alum, and they've got hot deals you'll love. Like the perfect combo, 2 meat and 1 topping pizzas with Parmesan and cinnamon bread bites for just $19.99. Or a large New York style pizza with 3 toppings for $10.99. And make sure to try Domino's best deal ever. Any pizza with 7 toppings for just $9.99, and stuffed crust is just $4 more. Order now at Domino's.com and enjoy Domino's at the concession stand every Rebel game night.
We apologize if this is your first time, but yes, unfortunately, this is normal. You're listening to the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340 1069, WCDT Winchester.
All right, Chewy, a couple things that are trending today on this Trending Tuesday. First, Carl Urban, who is Billy Butcher in the show The Boys, said he wants to play John Marston in a potential Red Dead Redemption movie.
Ooh, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the idea of a Red Dead Redemption movie.
Oh, absolutely. Well, maybe. And the only reason I'm apprehensive is it was so good that, like, I don't want them to kind of miss it. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but the game is almost like a movie in and of itself, so it's like the outline is there. You don't have to come up with a much creative, like a story or anything like that.
That's a good point. You could almost
be
verbatim,
hard to screw up.
Yeah, you could almost verbatim just copy what they did in the game.
Right.
But that would be an interesting one. But yeah, Carl Urban is, yeah, sure.
I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, not if you're not going to go with the voice actors, absolutely.
School of Rock star facing felony charges for guitar theft, because you're not hardcore unless you live hardcore. What is this kid's name? So the kid who plays the main guitarist in School of Rock, he
living his character.
Yeah, living it out. He's still pretty young looking guy. Looks like he's like 30 years old. Hold on, let me see.
When did School of Rock come out? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy Moses, all the way back in 2003. Again,
Really?
You want to feel old? Goodness
That came
gracious.
out, I would have argued like 2006 or 7, but yeah, 2003 is insane. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one came out in 2003.
Wow. I don't even know the kid's name. I can't even. Oh, here he is. Joey Gatos Jr. Zach Mooneyham, I think is who it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Arrested for felony charges for stealing a guitar.
I blame his misspent youth. Britt Crabtree
Sure.
says, I know who Jamarcus Russell is, but I barely remember who Ryan Leaf's name, if that says anything.
It's a good point. Ryan Leaf was not, he didn't play in the SEC, though. Jamarcus Russell, people around here would have absolutely lost their minds if Ryan Leaf had gone ahead of Peyton Manning. Just saying. All right, so, Chewy, how's this for a story? And I had to wait for hour number 2 for this one. It's not that it's like a not safe for work, but it's definitely not safe for the kids. So there's a Louisiana sex offender who's going to be castrated as a part of his sentencing.
Like physically or chemically or... But you're...
Louisiana allows surgical castration, not chemical, surgical castration for sentencing for certain convicted sex offenders, specifically cases involving minors. Applies to aggravated sex crimes involving children, can be ordered by a judge as part of sentencing. Offender must undergo physical, surgical castration, not just chemical.
Jesus. And I'm assuming this is this to reduce the sentence, or is this just like an additional thing that can happen? Does it even, or does it specify?
I don't know how this would be a reduction in any sentence.
Well, I'm saying like you get either 30 years or 25 years. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Where
how many years? A, how many years are the boys worth? B, I don't think it's an option.
Okay.
I think that it's just part of it. And C, I'm here for it.
Yeah, they're going medieval.
But D, and here's the thing, is I don't know if one thing has anything to do with the other thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Like I feel like if you let him back out, he's probably just gonna do it again.
Right.
You know. But
that piece of the anatomy isn't what's driving him to do that.
Yeah, but I guess it's more of like a humiliation sort of punishment kind of thing.
Right.
You know, it sort of marks you. I guess I understand the psychology, but you are right. I don't think that's going to curb anything. I think monsters will be monsters regardless of the consequences. Saying that, I don't have any sympathy for him.
No, I mean, I think that that's the pretty much the worst thing
you could do.
That you can do outside of maybe murder, but even murder.
But you could justify a killing.
Well, and even on top of that, like if you kill somebody, and this is a weird argument, right? I don't know how we go down this road, but I feel like if you kill somebody, you dead end their life, and that's it. You can hurt a lot of people that are involved with that person and things like that. But there's things like closure. There's other things like that kind of go into a murder. But when you talk about this crime against a child, not only are you, in a lot of instances, perpetuating a cycle of abuse where now these children, a lot of times these children who get abused, they have issues as they grow up, and a lot of times kids who have been abused become abusers themselves. I'm not saying that's the case in every position, and I'm not trying to make kids who have been abused to be monsters or anything like that, so don't put words in my mouth. But what I'm saying is there is a perpetual cycle that usually is triggered by abuse like that.
It is a lifelong scar that will live with
Exactly.
that human being for the rest of their life.
Exactly. It's a psychologically damaging thing. And there are children who go through that, who oftentimes, like, that's a feeling. They wish that they would have rather just been killed. Mm-hmm. Or they wish that and it is such a heinous crime to do that I have no, like, to me, if you're asking me, there's no punishment severe enough.
Matthew Ledbetter asked, didn't Florida just pass the death penalty for the same offense? I think they did.
I hope so.
I think they did, which was that was always my thing. It's like, if we're going to have that, let's use it for the right reason.
Yeah.
You know, and that was what I was always going to. This is what I'll call Louisiana medieval for this, but that's not necessarily a negative. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, there's ironically enough, too, these guys, and I say guys, these individuals, because men and women can be guilty of this, but a lot of times they go to jail. Doesn't matter what their sentencing is. They're gonna get the worst of it.
Yeah, they get
those walls.
Yeah, I remember there was a real big story about that gym, like those famous gymnasts who were getting.
Mm-hmm.
You remember this?
Yeah.
Where there was like some sort of athletic coach or exercise director guy, he did it to like for decades or whatever. The judge, I remember her saying, "I've basically written your death sentence." She's like, as soon as you get into that walls, they're gonna hear what you did. You know what I mean?
Larry Nassar.
Yeah, that's who it was. But it was, I don't have any sympathy for it. I think that's a little extreme, but at the same time, I'm not gonna argue it. You know what I mean? Like, do what you want. Like, they made their bed. You know?
Yeah.
When it comes to that kind of thing. But yeah,
it's so awful. And again, my question to the listeners is, what is your opinion on it?
Yeah.
On the solution, on the punishment, on the crime?
If I'll ask this, do you think that this will prevent future occurrences of this? I would argue maybe even if one thought that would happen to him and he didn't do it, it might be worth it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't like thinking about that.
Yeah.
you know?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. And to your point, but I don't think that anybody in that type of situation, anybody doing that type of thing, thinks about the consequences of any of that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's
I'm
tough.
giving them too much credit.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
yeah.
tough.
But yeah, it's a very interesting way to go about it, Louisiana.
We're good. We're just trying something.
Yeah, you're doing something.
Let's try this. See if this works.
But yeah, for me, I'm like, if we have a death penalty and we're still allowed to use it, let's use it for them. That's my opinion. But that I've heard that people have told me that that's an extreme opinion, which I don't think it is.
I don't either.
I just personally don't think that's extreme. But anyway.
Yeah.
Matthew Ledbetter wants some. He says, in all seriousness, there needs to be a reformation in the justice system. I agree.
Yeah. It's he says public stonings is what I say. It makes me sick to think about and talk about and stuff. I do agree with him, though, as far as the justice system. What's really upsetting is that when we look at things like, political races and other things like that, where they try and avoid outcomes, or at least this is what they say, they try and avoid outcomes that are like bought.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what does it come down to? It comes down to marketing and spending. Whoever spends the most money gets their name out there the most, and then they're able to buy these positions in political power. Or you've got, on the flip side of that, you've got these lobbyists who, again, there's always politicians who enter the political arena and they come out as millionaires or even billionaires. I don't know.
Which should, that should be illegal, right?
Right.
But
So anyway, I what's unfortunate is we all agree, right, that insider trading and all of these types of things, to me, there should be a cap on how much each presidential or political candidate should be able to spend as a part of their campaign.
Yeah.
Like, here's our cap. Everybody's going to equally spend the same amount so that, yes, it's enough for you to get your name and your messaging out there, but it's more about who does it better, who spends their money better, more wiser, and who's got a better message, so that we can vote on these people based on their quality rather than the amount of money. Well, I bring all that up, Chewy, to say Brett Crabtree says you misspelled government. I bring all that up to say that the same thing, in my opinion, applies to the justice system. It is unfortunate that regardless of the right or the wrong, what it usually comes down to is who can afford a better attorney, or who can afford somebody who's better at making an argument, or who can afford somebody who's better at manipulating the system. Because that's what, like, a lot of times it comes down to is it's the dollars and cents of the justice system rather than the merit. And I think that that's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
Regardless of,
it doesn't feel like everyone's playing the same game.
Yeah. Because you have a lot of people, especially, it's let me put it this way, and this is a lot of people argue why that this is one of the reasons why you have individuals who are in low-income areas, and why they continue to stay in those low-income areas is because if they have a legal snag, as opposed to somebody who has a father and is who's rich and they had a silver spoon in their mouth and all the things, well, you have one kid of a parent who grew up, in a side of town who doesn't have the same opportunities.
Disadvantage.
He gets pulled over for the same, disadvantaged community. He gets pulled over for the same crime as maybe a kid of a guy who's got a ton of money. The one guy can afford a great attorney. His kid gets off and it's like nothing ever happened, and the other guy can't. And his kid's future is ruined over the same, and that's the argument. And that, to me, shouldn't be how we're measured and how the type of opportunities that we have going forward. Now, do I believe that life is fair? No. But I think that if we're going to talk about justice and that whole thing,
we should push for as much fairness as we can muster.
Yeah. So that's just a thought. All right, let's get a quick break in here. When we come back, we will wrap things up. It is a trending Tuesday. We'll take one final look at some of the topics that are trending on social media. It is the starting lineup fueled by Loco Coffee on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Spring is a season of renewal, and at High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas, your health is always in season. From routine checkups to advanced care, their dedicated team is here to help you feel your best today and every day. Compassionate care backed by the strength of Ascension St. Thomas. This spring, take a moment for your health. Learn more or find a provider at highpointhealthsystem.com. High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas. Caring for you for every season of life.
Looking for a reliable car at an affordable price? Stop by Money Down Motors here in Deckard. We specialize in quality pre-owned vehicles with low down payments and flexible financing options. No matter your credit history, drive away today with a car you'll love and a payment plan that works for you. Visit us at 1945 Deckard Boulevard or call 931-962-3404 for more info. At Money Down Motors, LLC. Your ride is waiting.
Around here, people take pride in their property, and Flagship Lawn Services does too. They offer reliable mowing, trimming, mulch, and cleanups at a price that makes sense. And with the Flagship Finish Guarantee, they don't leave until it looks right. No shortcuts, no hassle. Just a yard that looks the way it should. And that's quality you can trust. Call or text Flagship Lawn Services today at 239-849-4033 and get your yard looking its best this spring.
It's time for a local news break from the 931 Go News Center.
Franklin County High School has announced a major addition to its football staff. Head coach Chuck Reed joined ESPN Radio Winchester Monday morning to introduce David Norris as the Rebels' new defensive coordinator beginning with the 2026 season. Norris brings an impressive resume, including 5 state championships, 4 of them in Tennessee, and previously worked alongside Coach Reed at Brentwood Academy. Coach Norris says his mission extends beyond the field. He emphasized leadership, motivation, and encouraging student athletes to become men and women of integrity. He plans to challenge players to set and achieve goals while fostering enthusiasm for learning and preparing them to be productive members of the community. Franklin County officials welcome Norris as a key piece in continuing to build the football program's culture and competitiveness. In state news, Representative Iris Rutter of Winchester has introduced legislation aimed at addressing reckless gunfire in crowded settings. House Bill 1757 would make it a Class A misdemeanor to recklessly fire a gun into the air, ground, water, or nearby objects at public gatherings of 25 or more people. The bill seeks to specifically address so-called celebratory gunfire and strengthen accountability in crowded environments. Current reckless endangerment laws classify certain offenses as felonies, and the proposed legislation would clarify how reckless discharge applies at public events. The measure includes exceptions for self-defense, lawful hunting, and activity at shooting ranges, and it ensures the topic is addressed in state-authorized handgun safety courses. The proposal follows the July 4, 2025 death of 61-year-old John Cobb, who was struck by a stray bullet during a fireworks event near Timms Ford Lake. The bill has advanced out of the Criminal Justice Subcommittee and was heard by the Judiciary Committee last week. For more local news and updates, visit 931go.com. Stay informed and stay connected to your community with ESPN Radio Winchester.
When it comes to caring for your loved ones, choose a name you can trust. Inhabit Home Health in Winchester, located at 2068 Cowan Highway. We're here to provide compassionate professional care right in the comfort of your own home. From skilled nursing to therapy services, our team is dedicated to helping you or your loved ones achieve the best quality of life. Call Inhabit Home Health today at 931-967-0633 to learn more about our personalized care plans.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester. Joe Abraham alongside Chewy. I'd like to apologize for today's show. In my opinion, not our best show, Chewy.
I think we're having a good time.
We are. We always have a good time, but sometimes the topics that I bring, they land. Sometimes they don't. I would say that we had one little spot where we had a good conversation about Jinko jeans and 90s trends and things like that. Outside of that, I didn't do a great, and we kind of stepped into that one. I didn't even mean to get into that one. It just happened. The rest of the show, the topics that are trending, kind of sucked.
We should do Fashion Tuesdays from now. Apparently, yeah.
Now that all being said, one of the things that is trending, Chewy, if you go over to Twitter, X, whatever you call it nowadays, is the Pope and Trump.
Oh my God, has it not been beautiful?
So now you got Trump over here posting AI graphics of him like pretending to be Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then you got the Pope and him going back and forth.
The Pope did lay an epic line. He did say, "I don't fear the Trump administration," and just walked off. And I was like, "Oh, geez," you know what I mean?
Well, the Pope is basically saying, blessed are the peacemakers, and that's where the Bible, his argument is that's what the gospel stands on. And then Carolyn Levitt, they asked her, Pope Leo said yesterday, God does not listen to the prayer of those who wage war. Can you comment on that? And she comes at it from, well, our nation was founded 250 years ago on Judeo-Christian values, and we've seen presidents, we've seen the leaders of the Department of War, we've seen our troops go to prayer during the most turbulent times in our nation's history. I don't think that there's anything wrong with our military leaders or with the president calling on the American people to pray for our service members and those who are serving in the country overseas. I'm not going to get into a whole religious debate on it. War and all the things are seen within the Bible, certainly. What I really want to talk about is, can we bring back Celebrity Deathmatch? I think that this is a great opportunity for a conversation regarding, speaking of tremendous 90s traditions. For folks who don't remember, and the kids are in school, so unfortunately they're not going to be able to hear us refer to this, but back in the day, you'd have Daria, which would roll right into Celebrity Deathmatch. And Celebrity Deathmatch,
just perfect.
Chewy, for those who may not know what it was, describe this claymation.
It was some of the most creative chaos you could basically do. It was literally like, and the whole vibe was like a joke, but like it was so good. It was one of those iconic shows where when you think of the 90s, it's always involved. You know what I mean? It was during that like MTV Adult Swim sort of like beginning of that style of comedy,
right.
And they would get claymation versions of popular celebrities at the time and literally make them fight in a ring. And wasn't it even introed by the guy who does like WWE or something like that too? Like they had him on there with the microphone at the very beginning and stuff. It was a lot of really interesting. It's such a time capsule though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you had Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond, and then Mills Lane. Mills Lane was the referee. And so here's what was tremendous about it, okay, is nowadays we have all of these, like, you got Eminem getting in rap battles with, I don't know, what's that guy's name from Cleveland?
Machine Gun Kelly?
Yeah, MGK.
Yeah.
You got all these public disputes. You got the Pope and the president going at it. You got all these public disputes that end up playing out in stupid ways, like social media or Twitter or whatever. When back in the day, there was an answer, okay? It was to allow Celebrity Deathmatch to simply handle it.
Yeah.
And whoever came out the winner, they were the winner. Period. End of story. The argument was over. It did not matter what your opinion. You couldn't go on Twitter afterwards and complain about the outcome because in most individuals' eyes, you were dead at that point. you had been run through a cheese grater or run over by a, I don't know, mixing machine, or had an anvil dropped on your head, or something.
Your agent's hair caught on fire every single time you lost on that, and you lose the public discourse.
Turned into a skeleton. I don't know. But it didn't matter, because at that point in time, the argument was over, the debate was over. You either won or you lost based on Celebrity Deathmatch, and there was no further conversation needed.
Let me ask you this then, so with the discourse of the celebrities on the show, especially the ones that were actually barking at each other, was it a reflection of how the public received it, or was it literally they pick who wins on the show? I never understood that, because I was culturally just segregated from it.
I'm pretty sure they just picked it.
Okay.
Fantasy Fights of Clay Renderings. The first episode had Monica Lewinsky versus Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Yep.
Mariah Carey versus Jim Carrey. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger taking on Sly Stallone. Oprah versus Rosie. I mean,
it was very much a reflection of the culture wars back then.
Let's see, the Loch Ness Monster. There were other ones. Loch Ness Monster versus Bigfoot. Mick Jagger versus Steven Tyler. Leno versus Letterman. These are some of the greatest battles of all time.
Well, also where they really shine is their little quips and the jokes that are in there,
right?
And again, time capsule. If you're not in, if you weren't there, you're gonna miss half of the jokes.
I think that we need a reboot of that show.
Why don't we just do it? Think about it. All these YouTubers are fighting each other now. We should just literally get a boxing ring. You're telling me you don't want to see Sam Altman and Mark Zuckerberg go at it?
Yeah, I think
watching these two dweebs.
That's
fight.
what I'm talking about. I mean, remember when Trump was getting into it with what's his name, and
Biden?
No, yeah. Trump gets into it with everybody.
Well, I was thinking about when Biden was we took him behind the gym and fought back in the day, and I'm I'd like to see that.
Right.
Yeah. Genuinely, I would like to see what technique both of those men use.
No, him and his buddy. What's the guy? The Tesla guy.
Elon. Like Trump and Elon.
Trump and Elon when they were going at it.
Oh, that would have been a great Celebrity Deathmatch episode. You're right. Ooh, okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, just do it again.
We just need anytime there is a question as to who's in the right and who's in the wrong, we just would leave it up to Celebrity Deathmatch. You just go at it.
That would be a fun one. Brett, yeah, see, here it comes. Brett says, I think the celebs should actually fight. See, I'm on you're with the claymation. I'm saying I want to see some blood.
I would be okay with it. Just actual celebrity boxing matches.
Matthew Ledbetter also said, or the Geraldo show.
Geraldo.
I don't think I watched that one.
No, that was before your time, my friend.
But sounds good, though.
Remember Ricky Lake?
No, I don't remember Ricky Lake.
You don't remember Ricky Lake? That just goes as far. That tells me that you were born late 90s.
Yeah,
Ricky Lake was kind of like Geraldo. So they used to have these shows. It wasn't always. Who's the other one that they would start chanting his name?
Jerry Springer?
Jerry, yeah. It was kind of like that.
Okay.
So it was kind of like the Jerry Springer show, but they would have all these, and it wasn't like Dr. Phil feel good and crying at the end. It was, and I'm not just talking about, who's the baby daddy. I'm talking, they would get into some weird stuff.
Yeah. And it was just sort of like...
now all that stuff's on social media.
It's not... They did a very specific societal function, and it was to highlight the weirdness in the world.
Well, I'm thinking about, look at all the, if you think back on all these weird shows that we had, they were filling a void that now these stupid things fill.
Yeah, now it is an unadulterated.
It's not as entertaining.
No, it's not even set up to be entertaining. It's just like, hey, here's all the awful stuff that happened, instead of being like, we'll pick one and just highlight it, I don't know. I was never like a Jerry Springer kind of guy. Were you?
No. Yeah. But maybe that's why part of why our show fills a gap for some people. Oh man.
Oh no.
Who would we have Chewy fight in a celebrity death match?
Crosby.
Crosby.
Me and Crosby would go at it
for rights to the producers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brutal.
I think Crosby whooped my ass real good. You know.
Here's the thing, though, is that you got like Michael and LeBron. Michael Jordan and LeBron James never got to have their celebrity death match. You want to know why we don't know who's better, Michael or LeBron?
Because they never had it.
They never had it.
That's why it's a debate. You know, I like this. Now, okay, do you actually want that though? Because now they would just be doing like YouTubers and streamers. You know what I mean? It'd be like Queso versus Sneeko.
Those guys are not, in my opinion, they're not celebrities. They're not famous.
Not to us, but like to kids, like they don't see the difference.
That's nuts to me.
Yeah, like a YouTuber being famous is like I still can't connect the dots.
Well, Queso goes on there and G will watch Queso, and the amount of comments and it's amazing. Like he's got thousands and thousands of listeners or watchers or viewers or whatever, and half the time he's just playing through a not even like a good video game, like a weird video game.
It's like one of those free asset games.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's kind of like Mystery Science Theater a little bit, where he's overly reacting to crappy
Mystery
media.
Science Theater.
First off, Hail Mary was good. We talk about good movies.
Oh, man.
I'd be more than happy to talk about Zat, but I don't think anyone cares about that movie.
No. Okay. Well, that'll do it for today's show. Thank goodness it's over.
He says I should fight Johnny. Brett. I'd be scared to fight Johnny.
No, Lambo and Brett need to fight each other. That's the fight we need.
That's how we end the show.
That's the fight we need.
There's the show. Hey, it's 9 o'clock. Man. Okay, we're good now.
All right. Today's show is thankfully over. We thank all of our sponsors, and we thank all of our listeners, and we'll try and do better tomorrow. Tomorrow's a Where's the Beef Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll try not to piss off half the county, maybe just a quarter next day. All right. Coming up next, it is Reliable Rentals Swap and Shop. I'm going to go take a shower and wash this show off. This is ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Last night.
Low key, just hung out with the wife, kid.